Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Lisa Holsberg, and I'm going to be teaching in the spring 2026 a course in Fordham's College at 60 program entitled Just a Closer Walk, Christian Hymns in History and Practice. This course is a version of a course I have taught in the undergraduate programs at Fordham for many years, since about 2015. Has a slightly different title called Great Christian Hymns. But it is a course I love teaching. I came to my theology studies. I have a PhD from Fordham in historical theology that I earned following a career that of as a performer. I'm a singer and a composer. I play some harp. You can see behind me, and music educator. So I after 9/11, I had a lot of big existential questions, and the world of theology helped me, and philosophy helped me bring those questions to a new level. So, but I never have left music behind, and I love this course that I teach at in the undergraduate program, and I'm about to begin to teach at Fordham College at 60 because it combines so many of my interests: history, music, singing, and the importance of all of these things, and theology and spirituality, all of these things together in a practice that human beings have been doing for as long as we can recall, which is using song to make sense of their lives. So the focus is on a history of Christian hymnology, of Christian hymns, but it wraps into a lot of other subjects: the history of music, how Western music developed from Western chant in the medieval period and earlier, how our nation, the United States of America, has adopted for its kind of national song uh, a, a, a hymn that originated in 19th century, 18th century, actually, England, and from someone who was a partaker in the transatlantic slave trade as a captain of a slaving vessel, and makes its way across the Atlantic to meet a tune here in the midst of the First and Second Great Awakening spiritual revivals that has become what we now call Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace is something that is done and shared at so many civic events and cultural events, in addition to religious events. So it's a song that really spans dimensions. So we study that history. It's really, really interesting. And I've had many students in my courses who have not been Christian, who have been international students, students from China who have had no exposure at all to religious traditions, to very devout and observant Jews in my courses. This past fall, I had a brilliant Hindu student from India who was making comparisons of our study of chant with Hindu chants. So the course is hospitable. It's meant to be open to anyone who's curious about song. We start off looking at what is your favorite song of any kind. How does that define who you are? How do you think it's shaped who you are? What does this mean, our relationships with songs? And then reaching from that broader perspective to this other history more specifically. Looking at second line jazz funeral traditions, how hymns make their way outside of buildings like church buildings and find their way on city streets. Maybe of interest to you to know that one of the great songs of resistance in the fairly recent protests for democracy in Hong Kong was an evangelical praise hymn sung by people who were not really partakers or participants in that tradition, but found it important to appeal to a source, divine or otherwise, that was stronger than the powers seeking to oppress them. So we look at that a lot, this history of spirituals, of the invisible institution in the United States for enslaved people. The alabados tradition that comes out of the penitentes in New Mexico. Lots of different things. And we also do a little singing, because how can we possibly understand how songs form and shape us if we don't try a little singing themselves? I'm a singing teacher. I welcome all voices of every kind. I believe it's a human right to sing, whatever, even if it's grunting along at a monotone. You're very welcome. I have a specialty too I've developed in the last 5 years working with the Metropolitan Opera Guild, and now since they've closed, we've gone independent working with other great artists in the city of running, co-directing the Community Voices Choir, which is a creative aging choir for people 55 and over. So that's going to be happening at the same time, and hopefully we can cross fertilize some of our interests with that regard. So I welcome you. I look forward to learning together and see you in the spring.